Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello there and welcome to the Daily Arsenal Podcast, brought to you as part of the Global Sports Podcast Network. It's Monday and things are, possibly, you may well notice, a little bit different today. On my personal end, so I host the majority of the episodes and kind of require a computer to do that. And it is Sunday evening and I don't currently have a working computer. It has decided to go kaput this evening. So we are trying something a little bit different, and Zencastr, our partners, they get very, very good recording on their phone. So this is a podcast done off of my phone. Now, my Wi-Fi is a little bit iffy, so for now, it is just me. So hopefully for tomorrow's episodes, we'll get the gang back together and things will be a little bit more back to normal. But it's just going to be an audio episode today, recorded off of my phone. So let's see how things go. Anyway, I'm Josh Vince, I'm your host, and let's get straight to the matter at hand, shall we? Saturday. 3 o'clock kickoff. It was a great watch, actually. West Didsbury and Chilton, they had an excellent game. No, of course I'm joking. I was down watching West Didsbury and Chilton play this Saturday at 3 o'clock. Thankfully, I wasn't watching the Arsenal game, which is where we fell incredibly we were defeated 1-0 by West Ham. As you can tell, I'm a little bit all over the place tonight because I'm still comprehending what the hell happened in that game. And I'm glad I didn't watch it in time. I believe Craig managed to watch it. I believe Rodney managed to watch it. They were messaging in the group chat. They were not happy. I've since watched the highlights. I've read reports. I am not happy. Jarrod Bowen goal sunk Arsenal in this one. And it means that, for the first time since, first of all, that Bournemouth game, we are beaten in the Premier League. And it also opened up an opportunity for Liverpool, which we'll get back. Well, Joe, no, let's just say it. We're recording on Sunday night. Liverpool beat Manchester City. We'll go into the game in a little bit more detail in a bit, but they are now 11 points clear. I think it is. Is it 11 points clear? Let me double check. Yeah, they're 11 points clear. We've got a game in hand, admittedly, so we can drag it back to 8. But it's not looking good, guys. I think I said in the group chat after the game, I sent one very simple message. It was fun while it lasted. But we're going to get more into that in the second half. First, let's talk about the game. And it was, what's a nice way of putting this? An abominable disaster, I think, is a fair reflection of the game. Obviously, beaten 1-0 at home by West Ham. West Ham, who have had a very, very difficult time in the Premier League recently. Looking at the stats, we had 68% possession to their 32. Couldn't score a goal. XG of 1.2. They had exactly the same. We had, get ready for this, 20 shots. 2-0. 20 shots. They had 5. 2 of our shots were on target. 10% of our shots were on target. And that was from Calafiori from range and Trossard, both of which straight at the goalkeeper. They had 2 shots on target. One of which was Bowen's. One of which sunk us. It's offensively just an absolute nightmare. In terms of, you look at the statistics, it's awful. It's just, I'm stuttering a lot today because I'm genuinely just utterly baffled. You look around at the tackles, pretty even, fouls, pretty even. They had way more clearances than we did. We were attacking them a lot. We just didn't do anything with it. And of course, there was another moment later on which we will get to, but let's go through the basics. Calafiori straight at the keeper early on in the first half. It was a good hit, but it was straight at him. Then, West Ham showed they were dangerous. Bowen dragged wide from a counter-attack, which came down the right, which was Wan-Bissaka, who was giving Calafiori a hell of a time. And then, after that first effort from Bowen dragging wide, Wan-Bissaka beat Calafiori on the right wing. He sent the ball across the face of goal. Rice lost his man. Saliba caught in no man's land. Gabriel nowhere to be seen. And Jared Bowen, the diving header, sent West Ham 1-0 ahead. It was a good goal. It was a good finish. Probably should have defended it better. Wan-Bissaka was having a field day against Calafiori. He was having an absolute field day, and Calafiori just could not contain him. But, I mean, Calafiori didn't stay on the pitch all game. I think Arteta probably realised that he was having a bit of a rough time. So he actually brought on Miles Lewis-Skelly in the 56th minute to try and impact the game. And let's be honest, Miles Lewis-Skelly did impact the game. He got sent off. He got sent off with a straight red card in the 73rd minute. Now, there's been a lot of chat about this already, of course, because it's another Lewis-Skelly red card. Obviously, the first one was rescinded. This one, I'm not convinced is going to be rescinded. So he was initially cautioned by Craig Pawson because he dragged Mohamed Kudus to the floor on the halfway line. So it was pretty much bang on the halfway line. I think it was just inside the Arsenal half, but it was bang on the halfway line. VAR then got involved and said, Craigie, pop on over to the screen. You just need to have a little look at this. And they decided that he had denied Kudus a clear and obvious goal-scoring opportunity. Now. We have seen this a few times this season. This has happened. The last couple of times it happened, however, the goalkeeper was still very much in goal. Raya was probably 10 yards out of the centre circle at this point, so he was nowhere near his goal. This was probably more of a goal-scoring opportunity than any of the other incidences that I've seen the red card given for, like when it's been brought back and given at the halfway line. Is it harsh? Saliba was on the line too, but he's probably 20 yards off in a different direction. I hate to say it, but I think it was probably one of the first fair red cards that Arsenal have got this season. I think it was a young man who was brash, panicked, and pulled his man to the ground. It wasn't quite the last man, but it doesn't really make much of a difference. It still happened. He made the choice. He made the mistake. He got sent off, and then for the rest of the game, Arsenal are chasing it. Chasing it with 10 men, and the way that we were just lacking any sort of creativity up top, it was never going to happen. It was never going to happen. I mean, Sterling had an opportunity with a free kick, but he sent it straight at the wall. And again, really unimpactful, Raheem Sterling, in that game. Really disappointing. All of them were. I didn't watch the game fully. I've seen the highlights because of the bloody 3 o'clock kickoff laws. But it just sounded awful. And we're going to take a break in a second. I'm not the only one who thinks that. Mikel Arteta has some pretty strong opinions on it as well. Martin Odegaard wasn't happy. And it's led to a lot of discussion about, well, realistically, kind of what's left for Arsenal now, this season. So we're going to take a little bit of a break. And because we're doing this on my phone, I haven't had a chance to get the pre-recorded advert up. So here's a message from our partners at Bioniq. Your body is unique, and Global Sports Podcast Network is partnered with Bioniq, the world's most personalised supplements. Bioniq make 100% tailor-made supplements designed to deliver precisely what your body needs at exactly the right levels to optimise your health with no guessing. So click the link in the show notes and use the code GSPN 2025 for 40% off your first month subscription. Bioniq, don't settle for off-the-shelf solutions for just about anybody. Get what's right for you right now. And that's a little message from our partners there at Bioniq. Now, back to the game. Right, I have the individual player stats in front of me right now, and it's a website I use a lot of the time, FBref. I think I mentioned it a couple of podcasts ago. It's a really good website. Does a full breakdown, so it's got sort of goals, assists, penalty kicks, attempted shots on target, cards, touches, tackles, interceptions, everything. So it makes for some pretty grim reading here. I'm not going to lie to you guys. 20 shots, 5 from Leandro Trossard, 3 from Martin Odegaard, 2 from Calafiori, 2 from Gabriel, 1 from Ben White, which, to be fair, wasn't miles off the bench. Oh, yeah, great news. Ben White's back. He was in the game. He played. He didn't play long. I think he played 5 minutes, it says here. About 5 minutes he managed. Just good to see him back, honestly. I think we've missed a bit of versatility at right back. I think Timber's done a great job, but it's good to see him return. And as I said before, the only shots on target were Trossard and Calafiori early in the first half. Now, Mikel Merino, a lot of the discussion before the game was about Mikel Merino. How is he going to impact the game? I'm looking at his statistics here now, guys. He didn't really. I mean, he played 90 minutes. He had 2 shots, neither of which were on target, 34 touches. He made 2 tackles and 2 blocks with an XG of 0.3 and an XG assisted goal of 0.1. Like, in terms of his actual output, it wasn't great. Yeah, 80%, pass completion. Progressive passes, so that's moving it forward 10 yards into a good position. One progressive pass. Like, I don't know. Again, as I said, I didn't watch the game. I can only really read the stats and see the highlights. The highlights weren't particularly insightful as to what happened in the game. But something was so clearly lacking. So clearly lacking. Christ, Raheem Sterling, 10 minutes, 14 touches. I mean, 14 touches in 10 minutes isn't awful, but 66% of his passes completed. Just these stats, you look at them and they look depressing. They look disappointing. And we're not the only ones, right? This is Arteta after the game. Arteta, when he was asked about his team's title prospects, said, "It's not in our hands. I'm really, really annoyed with the things that are in our hands, which is the performance and the result. We were nowhere near the levels that we have to hit to have the opportunity to win a Premier League. I'm very much responsible for that, so I'm very, very angry. I'm talking about the standards of the players and the team we play today. We have to look in the mirror for what we can do better, and the will, the desire, the way we run, and the way that we want to be champions. You have to deliver, and it has to be of better quality to break down a really good team. We have to play much, much better and with more quality." And I think he has hit the nail on the head there. The quality, very simply, was not there. It wasn't there. Whether it's this, I think we're going to be talking about this all season. We don't have a bloody striker, and we could have signed a bloody striker. It's all we needed was a flipping striker, and it is biting us on the arse now. We are now really suffering for it because 20 shots, some of them would have been, if they fell to a better player, not a Leandro Trossard, it would have been so much better. But, the players that it landed to, and none of them are natural finishers. I mean, Christ, who are our natural finishers in the squad? Saka's pretty good. Yeah, I think that's it. In terms of natural finishers, Bukayo Saka. And he might not be back till April, now we're hearing. There's more, unfortunately, when we look at the analysis of the title race. Today, Liverpool beat Manchester City. Again, we'll get into that in the third part, but it was an awful game. It was absolutely shocking. And and the day before, on Match of the Day after the Arsenal game, Alan Shearer and Danny Murphy both basically said it's Liverpool's now. I don't see Arsenal winning all their games, so Liverpool can have the odd hiccup, said Danny Murphy. And when they play badly, they still pick up points. And Opta have jumped in on this now as well. So they have a projection algorithm. I think they predicts games or sort of results and how likely teams are to do certain things. So Arsenal's chance of winning the league, they suggested before the West Ham game, were about 15%. So still not great. Still not great, Down to 8 now. 7% drop. They reckon Liverpool will finish top on 86 points. 8 ahead of Arsenal. So they reckon Arsenal will get 78 points. I've done a quick analysis, right, of our upcoming games. We've got 12 games left. And the results that I think we're going to get from them and the number of points. So they reckon we're going to get, 8 points less than Liverpool, so they reckon we'll end on 78 points, okay, which is 25 points from the remaining 12 games. Nottingham Forest away, that's a draw. Manchester United away, we might win that one. I'm not convinced, but I've got it down as a win. Chelsea at home, draw. Fulham at home in April, depending on the players we've had back, I've got that down as a draw. Everton away, draw, possible loss, I think that one. Brentford at home will win. Ipswich away will win. Palace at home will win. Bournemouth at home, I think, will win. Liverpool away, we're going to get smashed, I think. I don't see how you can stop them at this moment in time. Newcastle at home, second last game. God almighty. Draw that one. Southampton away, win. I'm predicting we're going to get 23 points and end on 76. I think it could all come to a bit of a flop, really. And in a bit of a damp squib. Sorry, this is the Daily Arsenal podcast, and I were meant to be a bit more hopeful, but after a result like that, and the feedback I've seen from that game, I can't be hopeful. I simply can't be. Well, that was a lot of sadness, wasn't it? What we're going to do now is we're going to have a quick little break. I'm going to bring you a message from our partners at Zencastr, and then we'll talk about the other fixtures and wrap things up today, because I think we're all feeling a bit down in the dumps, aren't we? So here at Global Sports Podcast Network, we spend a lot of time deciding on our delivery platform. Zencastr came out the clear winner. With 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that automatically removes all of those ums and ahs, it's super easy to start a podcast that sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, then check out the link in the description to learn more about Zencastr. And welcome back. So, I think it's time to look at the weekend's results. The first one that, of course, I think we need to look at is the big game of the weekend. It was the big event, the big sort of, I guess, the big moment in football, really. You know, as we look around the country at all of the different results that took place. West Didsbury and Chorlton 3, Pilkington 1. Brilliant game. Absolutely brilliant game. West Didsbury and Chorlton were on fire at the home ground. £7 ticket, by the way. I'm going to big them up in this podcast, the few people who can listen. They're basically my local non-league team, and every now and again I get the chance to go and watch them. Yesterday I had the chance, or Saturday even, I had the chance to go and watch them. It was a great game. Now back to the actual results. Before that, I was in the pub watching what was a really entertaining game of football. Everton 2, Manchester United 2. Everton taking a shock, let's be honest, even though it's at Goodison Park and they're doing better, shock 2-0 lead going in at half-time. Everybody in the boozer thought, that's it, you know. United had done. We were talking, right, does Amorim get sacked or does he jump? What's going to happen here? But no, they turned it around. And to be fair, in the second half, they were an awful lot better, Manchester United. The Bruno Fernandes free kick was very smart. And the Ugarte goal as well was clinical. It was nicely put away. So Manchester United walking away from Goodison with a point, which isn't anything to shirk at. Bournemouth, Wolverhampton Wanderers. Apart from the West Ham game, this might have been the biggest shock of the weekend. With Bournemouth having Zabani sent off in the 31st minute, lost at home 1-0 to Wolves. Now, Wolves have been struggling this season. Bournemouth were in 5th. And so this result was a genuine shocker. When I saw it coming through, because that was one of the 3 o'clock kickoffs, we were stood around the pitch watching the West Didsbury game and keeping up to date with all these scores. And that one was that was one of the ones that stood out, along with the West Ham one. But I was around a Celtic fan and a Chelsea fan, so I didn't really want to think about the Arsenal result too much. They did, of course, but I didn't. Other 3 o'clock results. Palace beating Fulham 2-0 at home. Really, really good result there for Crystal Palace. Anderson with an own goal there. And Munoz has got a good few goals this season. Mateta setting up there really well. One of the other games at 3 o'clock, this just compounded my misery on the day, I'll be honest with you. Ipswich 1, Tottenham Hotspur 4. Like, if Spurs now find form and get out of the bottom 10 and we don't win the league, I'm going to be so gutted come the end of the season. Like, I know that hoping for people's downfall. Do you know, actually, no. One of my favourite words in the world is Schadenfreude, which is German for taking pleasure in other people's misfortune. And Spurs, to me, are Schadenfreude. I just hope it continues. But this 4-1 result against Ipswich, I mean, it was an annihilation. Speaking of annihilations, Brighton spanked Southampton 4-0. But another great result, a really interesting result from the Saturday fixtures. Villa 2-1 against Chelsea with an Asensio double after Enzo Fernandez put Chelsea ahead in the 90th minute. Marco Asensio, I believe during the episode that I did about potential signings, I mentioned Marco Asensio. I would have loved him to have come to us on loan. He's showing that he's a good player there. Now, there were two kind of big games today. Newcastle United hosted Nottingham Forest in the 2 o'clock kickoff at St James's Park, which ended 4-3. Now, I might have to talk you through how this game happened. Nottingham Forest went ahead at St James's Park after 6 minutes through Callum Hudson-Odoi. Then Newcastle scored 4 goals in 12 minutes. There was 1 for Lewis Miley, 1 for Jacob Murphy, and 2 for Alexander Isak. One was a 33-minute penalty, and then you got another on the 34th minute to make it 4-1 Newcastle United at 34 minutes. Absolute chaos at St James's Park, which, to be fair, like, when Arsenal aren't playing there, I quite like watching games at St James's Park because they're generally chaotic. But it wasn't over yet because it was 4-1 at half-time. But then Nottingham Forest just decided to turn up again. And Milenkovic got one in 63rd minute, and then Ryan Yates got one in the 90th. It was 4-3 at full time, and Forest nearly got back. They nearly did it. So, crazy game at St James's Park. And then there was the result that compounded everything. Now, this is probably, apart from dipping in and out of the Newcastle game and about 60 minutes of the Man United game, this is the only game that I managed to catch all the way through. This weekend, it was Manchester City and Liverpool at the Etihad. And my God, what a boring game of football this was. It was crap. There were 2 good goals early on, and then it was just flat. The whole occasion was flat. Liverpool sucked all the energy out of that stadium, and they walked away 2-0 winners. And now, I mean, City were terrible. No Erling Haaland again, and they just looked completely devoid of ideas. They looked useless, honestly. I think the sooner that the season comes to an end for Pep Guardiola, the better, because he has not, let's be honest, he's not had a good year, has he, Pep? Bless him. But actually, bless him? No, you don't. He's another human being. Quote unquote, bless him. Which means at the end of this week, Liverpool are still top with 64 points. We're second, 11 points behind them with 53. Like, we're not going to catch them, guys. If we catch Liverpool in this title race, I will take up Joshua Duncan's bet of the Havertz 20 goals, and I will eat a hat. I think if Arsenal win the Premier League this season, I will win one of my hats. I'm bald. I've got quite a lot of hats. You need them when you're sort of follically challenged. But yeah, I will do that because it's not going to happen. We will drop more points. We're not going to win every game. Liverpool won't either, but they can afford to now, and they can rotate players and they can give players rest and come back even fresher for the big ones. So it's over. And do you know what? No, I'm going to save it to the last line of the podcast. Forest is still in 3rd with 47. City in 4th with 44. Joint on points with Newcastle, who are 44. Then 2 teams on 43, which are Bournemouth and Chelsea. Villa just behind on 42 and Brighton on 40. So 7 points separate 9th and 3rd. So the running for Europe this season is going to be really interesting. I think pretty much the title's decided already. The European battle is going to be really fun because I have a feeling with the English teams doing as well as they have done in the European competitions, we'll get that 5th Champions League spot. Then we look at the bottom. Southampton are out. I mean, they are... Hang on, let's do a quick... They're 13 points from safety. Now, technically, there's 12 games left, which means that there's 36 points up for grabs. I don't know. If they survive this season, it will be the biggest... Like, if they get Leicester winning the league, it will be the biggest turnaround of shock ever. to be 26 games into the season on 9 points and survive would be a miracle beyond words. So it's not going to happen. Leicester and Ipswich are both on 17, Wolves on 22, and then West Ham on 30. So if Ipswich or Leicester are going to survive, it's going to have to be at Wolves' expense. And Wolves, I think, have got just enough quality to survive. But I mean, that's kind of it, guys. I'm really sorry. This has been a really, really depressing episode. But, with the technical issues of losing my computer about an hour and a half ago and just the result against West Ham being so deflating, it's kind of hard to look at it with too much hope. There is one thing, I guess, that we can still look forward to. I've said it for a couple of months now. We're going to win the Champions League. We're going to win the Champions League. And when we do, that'll feel bloody, bloody good, guys. So, that's it from me, your host, Josh Vince. Thank you all so much for listening. Hopefully tomorrow we'll have some technical issues fixed, at least very much on my end. We'll have video back. We'll have guests back as well. We'll have some of the guys actually be able to join in the conversation because it'd be good to hear their thoughts on the game, especially the ones who watched it. And to all of you out there who are Arsenal fans, who might be feeling a little bit deflated in this sort of like last week of February for 2025, just think of this. It was fun while it lasted. Goodbye, everyone.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.